With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware. And that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
About an hour outside of downtown Chicago, there lies an unused, unassuming circle of asphalt. Ditched by both NASCAR and IndyCar, it's been sitting there like a dormant volcano for the past couple of years. But luckily, we have the power of laser scanning and simulated physics, and Chicagoland Speedway is ready to erupt with racing lava once more. Welcome to round 2 of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, live from the virtual Chicagoland Speedway. Hi everybody, Joey Tebben here alongside Terry Radford in the booth with Connery Maddock behind the scenes directing in both sound and color. Terry, we're here at Chicagoland Speedway. It's a track that's been forgotten in real life, but it's a track that still certainly gets a lot of use on iRacing.
No, it absolutely does, but it provides great racing, right? This is probably one of the most fantastic 2 to 3 groove racetrack that you're going to put yourself on. And the interesting part is last week I told you I go out and I attempt to run a fixed race each and every week, and I'm going to do it for the entirety of this season. This track allowed me to go to the wall, to the bottom, to the apron, to the middle, and I was still able to make some speed. I was able to turn a lot of power out here. So this is going to be an interesting race with 38 drivers loaded into the sim at the virtual Chicagoland Speedway. I expect to see a 3-4 wide finish to the end.
Well, we can only look forward to that, but we're also going to look forward to the rest of the schedule for this season. Of course, last week we went to Nashville Superspeedway. Now we're here in Chicago, Chicagoland Speedway, but we've got 8 more races after that, and next week, it's a big one. It's an interesting one. We're going to the road course at Mid-Ohio for the first time, and then after that, it's a little more straightforward, but still, very diverse schedule for this truck series.
Yeah, it's a whole lot more diverse. I mean, obviously Mid-Ohio coming up next. That's going to be the challenge. That's the only road course on the season. You know, you don't really have to be that great at it, but then you come right back to New Hampshire. That's the staple. That's when you're going to see who's the fast guys, who's going to potentially challenge for this championship. And by the time we get to Richmond, we should have a clear-cut path on who's going to walk away with the PRL championship.
And speaking of the PRL Championship, here are the current championship standings. Only been one race, so these are essentially the finishing results of last week's race at Chicagoland. It shouldn't be anything surprising. There's Sean Powell on top after that great victory last week, and the rest of the field chasing him down. The usual suspects, Bradley Holly, Thomas Sink, a couple of new names, the old names of Abner Acosta, Danny Cervantes, all sorts trying to chase Sean Powell down for the next 9 races of the season. But before we can go any further, let's thank the people who make all of this possible. Of course, VCO, the virtual competition organization, helping us out here at RaceSpotTV and helping to make every single Precision Racing League broadcast possible this season. And also, Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. This broadcast is also brought to you by RaceLab Apps. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, RaceLab helps you get the best out of sim racing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. And of course, this broadcast is brought to you by The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products provide an incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat with the Butt Kicker. And Ninja Trader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, Ninja Trader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. Ninja Trader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com. To get started, and with a risk-free trading simulator and get your trading career started today. Brief technical difficulty, but that is all of the ads for today, and they all help us bring this broadcast to you. And the broadcast begins now, Terry, and qualifying begins now. Get ready for high speeds, and as you said, multiple different lines are possible here.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and wow, we go into it, and Richard Reagan Jr. comes out with a 31.13. That's blistering around this track. I know what I threw down a 31.199, and I just barely got beaten out. I started P2 in my race, ended up getting wrecked about halfway through. But you're going to see that here. Drivers can go wide open for, about 5 to 7 laps, and then the tire starts to wear off a little bit. You want to burp it just a tad bit going into the corner. You'll come down the long straightaway, and then you'll kind of back down just a little bit, and then you'll get back in it. You'll mat it as we look here with the Tropicana 57. There's going to be some times you see Adam, he's working the bottom, he come back up to the top, he'll get the run down here, but you had me cracking up again, because every time you say the butt kicker, I'm telling you, it just gets me. I don't know why it makes me laugh so hard, but I have to mute my mic every time.
It's a great product. It's a funny name, but it's a very accurate name, and there's a lot of drivers in the field that we see use these things. There's a lot of them on motion rigs around the country. I was actually at a go-kart track the other day, and they had motion sim rigs in the lobby in the arcade section, and what did they have under the seats? They had the butt kicker to provide the ultimate realism and all sorts of extenuous sim racing things that you really need for the ultimate realism here. But qualifying is underway here at Chicagoland Speedway, and we're watching Charles Sumner right now setting down some laps. Currently not on the table, but we'll see what his first lap can do once he crosses the line here in about 0.75 of a mile.
What's funny is the first lap, you see all these drivers, they're running up against the wall. That's very smart, because you want to get heat in the tires. You want to allow a little bit more speed to be found in them. You see he'll dip down now, he'll go right to the grass, and he'll start his time at the lowest point on the surface, and now he's going to dip it down to the bottom. He didn't burp it. He's wide open here. These are the only 2 laps that you theoretically are going to take wide open unless you're the race leader, and then you have no other option but to do this. So he ran his first lap at a 31.7. Obviously, he wanted to get some speed. Now he comes through 3 and 4. Very steady wheel. You see very small hand movements in it. He works back up. Doesn't swing it to the wall. Didn't want to scrub any speed. It's like a restrictor plate race with these trucks. And he's going to place in 19th with a 31.2. There's only a 10. There's literally only a 10 in between what Richard ran with a 31.1 down to the 31.23, 1/10 of a second. This is going to be the tightest race other than Daytona we're going to see all season.
Going to be very tight at the top of the timesheets. Charles Sumner cannot bring it around for his second lap. Time has run out in qualifying, and we will take a look at the grid now. Of course, Richard Regan Jr. will be on pole. You saw him at the top of your timesheets, but it is a ridiculously close grid. It's a ridiculously close field, and let's take a look at who your top 30-something drivers will be. 38 drivers in the field tonight. On pole will be Richard Regan Jr., followed by Thomas Sink in the 48. Then Bradley Holly, the runner-up of last week, and Adam Zemke in the 57 is fourth. Jeff Hollingsworth and Danny Cervantes form up row 3. Then back in 7th place, it's Chris Harvey and Christian Swenson, two drivers who had strong races last week. Jeff Evans, Mike Witt are row 5, and then Austin Hunter and last week's winner, Sean Powell, 11 spots lower than he started last week. He'll be looking to move his way up through the field. In 13th place is Steve Loving, followed by Colton Lane. Then the other Hunter, Nicholas Hunter, and Mark Kalin is 16th. Ryan Traver and Mike Richter round out row number 9. We're almost halfway through the field. Then Charles Sumner, one of the last cars to qualify, followed by Dylan Schmidt, Kevin McGarvey, the first McGarvey, Doyle Lawrence, Dalton Geyer, James Dewar are the top 24. Then down to 25th, Robert Happy Gilmore, fan favorite, followed by Stacy Hunter, Doug Evans, Jim Westerfield, Tom Amasi, CM Punk Pennington. And that's still not the whole field. Garrett Austin, Daniel Knight, Abner Acosta did not qualify. Moises Caraballo, we saw him yesterday in the GT race. He went the full race on a 0 stop. Can't do that tonight. He'll be 34th. Jose the Funky Cole Medina, 35th. Derek Dennis, 36th. And two more. Kyle McGarvey and Zach Panzarella will round out the 38 truck field at Chicagoland tonight.
Well, I have an interesting point about one of the drivers with the 27 of Steve Loving. I actually got to run with him as a teammate. You know, I remembered him being here in the PRL series, and I ran at the Alabama 500 with him, a little special event that Ghostfire Media put on earlier this week, and he was very interesting to talk to. You know, we talked strategy, we talked racing, we talked what it was like racing in this series, and he said that he's the guy that we need to circle tonight. Very, very intelligent man, like one of the best conversations I've had race-wise in a long time. So I'm looking, he qualified strong, 13th. I know that, you know, it sounds, oh, it's 13th, but that's fast compared to, he's not that far off of what the leader ran. He was only not even 2/100ths of a second off of what the pole time was. We'll see what the 27 can do. He's definitely my favorite in the race so far.
Steve Loving might be starting 13th, but up front it's Richard Regan Jr. starting on pole for what time? The 13th time. So it's a race for the number 13. Hopefully that's not a bad omen. But for lucky or unlucky 13, Richard Regan Jr. starts on pole, and he leads the field to green in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series at Chicagoland. Regan holds the lead down the curve. Back top off. Thomas Sink leads the bottom. Now Regan goes back down to the bottom, arcing the corner. It's going to be lap 1, led by Richard Regan Jr. The entire field cleanly through, but you see how close everybody is. I have a feeling it's going to be like this for quite a while, Terry.
Yeah, you saw them rewind there for a moment. They're going to utilize the apron for a good majority of this race, and when the tires do start to wear out, you'll see the outside groove really become the most prominent groove out here. They'll start on the bottom. Obviously, you see Regan and Sink and Holly, all of them tucked down on the bottom. They'll arc it in from the center. They'll come down. They'll paint that white line, work their way back up. But you see the 57 right there of Zemke. He's already to the outside. He made a pass out there. That's a power move early in the race, because if he can do it on old tires where the track's really hot, it has no rubber on it whatsoever. If you can make that move on lap 3, just imagine what he's going to do lap 20 in this run when the tires are really cooked, to go up there and try to make a pass for the lead somewhere.
Looks like it's mostly single file for the first 12 trucks or so, back to Steve Loving, and then side by side from about 14th on with Nicholas Hunter Colton Lane, McGarvey, all sorts of drama back here as the top 12 run single file. There is Sean Powell. Now he's to the outside of the number 312 of Austin Hunter. And Powell is moving his way forward. It's only one position from his 12th place starting spot, but that's more than 0 positions, isn't it?
I mean, coming off a win, you have the momentum. You roll into Chicagoland, a place to right. We don't run here on the NASCAR schedule, but with it being an off week for the trucks, we come to Chicago and we get to experience a high-octane horsepower track that it's a fan favorite. I don't know why this isn't on the schedule anymore, because this is one of those races that you circle when you see the 36 race schedule or the 27 for the trucks, and you go, man, I can't wait to watch this race, because you'll have people come out here and run it that are just one-off races, and they put on a heck of a show. But you see the 45 there, he's going to go to the bottom. He worked the outside, and now he works back to the bottom, paints the grass, almost touches it, but is able to work around. He's going to complete that pass pretty cleanly here on the 26.
Sean Powell, Mike Witt side by side on the exit of 2. Sean Powell not quite clear up on the high side. Clearly appears to have the pace advantage, but that outside line working beautifully for Mike Witt through turns 3 and 4. Powell cannot get away from Witt. He wants to be clear. He wants to be safely into the top 10, but Mike Witt's not letting that happen. There goes Steve Loving, almost 3 wide down to the bottom in the 27. It's a 3-way fight for the last spot in the top 10.
And this is the advantage for that middle lane. I talked about it earlier, that the middle lane's always going to get the advantage. You're able to wind that momentum a little bit more. You're burping it to save the tires down there on the bottom at this track. You don't want to overdrive it if you're not able to get the wide arc like he's not able to right now. He has to take a more shallow approach. He can't arc it. He can't be wide on it. But that time he completes the pass, and he slid right up in front of Witt there. And now Witt's going to push him all down the front straightaway. And now it's one more position. And now here goes Powell. He's going to look for Evans. Eventually he's going to catch him. And here comes Loving. He goes to the bottom into 1. And now the draft is going to be the one that plays the dividends on what truck gets what position at what time.
Side by side, Loving and Witt for 11th and 12th, and Loving completely clear of Mike Witt before the corner's even over. Witt down to 12th, Loving up to P11, and you see a little bit further back, Austin Hunter, he's coming. He's got Colton Lane pushing him down the curve front straight, and Sean Powell once again on the attack. He is not destined to stay in 10th. Next up on his list is the number 51 of Jeff Evans. Remember last week, Jeff Evans was in the fight for the win when an unfortunate incident basically took him out of the race. He did finish, but finished very deep in the field. And he is on a recovery drive, a redemption drive today. But he's got a very hungry Sean Powell behind him, trying to pick where to go. Does he send it to the top? Does he send it to the bottom? Looks like he's just going to stick with him. He's going to do neither.
The funny part about this racetrack is you have to get it while the getting's good. If the tires are brand new, caution's out. So now we reset them. So caution comes out here. We'll see what brought out the caution here momentarily. But, big
McGarvey.
Oh.
That's the second week in a row. It's an early caution for the driver of the number 42, Kyle McGarvey. Tamamasi. Looks like Daniel Knight and Moises Caraballo also involved. Let's take a look at what happened. See the white truck down on the bottom. That's Tamamasi. Daniel Knight. Oh! The 17 of Daniel Knight and the 05 of Tamamasi. Garvey nowhere to go. CM Pennington nowhere to go. And they just piled in at the back of the field.
It's early. It's early racing right there. I mean, you see them. They're 3 wide. When you go to make this corner, obviously you're not going to make it from here, right? You're not going to make it that shallow of an entry. You're going to have some type of arc. You see he almost lifted it, and then you see the 17 did lift it, but you can't go straight into this corner. You know, you have tracks like New Hampshire, you have tracks like you could do it at Martinsville. You could have a straight entry into the corner and bank it just a little bit, but you got to back it up a ton. That spot there early in the race, lap 10, I would have expected a little bit more give. I would have expected somebody to back out, roll out of the throttle, let it just flow, let it have a natural flow, and let the truck catch itself. But now the strategy comes into play because you had the race leader. He's on pit lane. A lot of drivers decided to stay out, though. So a lot of drivers came in, a lot of drivers decided to stay out. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to do what when the green flag drops again.
Thomas Sink stayed out, but your race leader, Richard Regan Jr., does bring it down pit road. I don't know, did he take tires there? I wasn't watching him for long enough. I don't think he did. I thought everybody was going to come down and take 4 tires. My question was it going to be 25 or 6 to 4? But clearly it was more closer to 25. Richard Regan Jr. didn't take tires, but everybody else behind him did.
Yeah, I mean, fuel in my honest opinion, to be the way to go, because you can, at this moment, you could potentially go out here and you know you can run longer. So if we do get that green flag spell, you know you can take it further and pray for the caution. I mean, looking at the pit times, it looks like the 57 14-second pit stop, either a damage repair or took tires here. Steve Loving with a 2.97 pit stop. So there's a lot that's in here that could just be broken apart. We can open it up and just dissect what happened and what the strategies are that are playing in this one. But you have to pray for the long run, Joey. You can't have caution after caution after caution, because then that strategy goes out the window and you just gave up all that track position for no reason.
And of course, if we do have caution after caution, we've got to start thinking about the time limit. It is scheduled to be an 85-lap race, but as we saw last week, if there is too much carnage, if there's too much yellow running, we will run into a 60-minute time limit. So 1 caution, we can easily make it under green, the full 85 laps, but if there's multiple cautions, if there's 4 or 5 or 6 like last week, we will run into that time limit, but that's a long way away. But for right now, Thomas Sink will restart in the lead. Bradley Holly will restart alongside him. Jeff Hollingsworth up into the top 3. Chris Harvey is 4th. Then Witt, Richter, Dewar, Westerfield, Gilmore, and Lawrence are going to be the top 10 on this restart. First truck that pitted, Richard Regan Jr. didn't take tires. He's starting 13th. And Sean Powell, Adam Zemke, the rest who did, will start right behind him from 14th down. So it's a little bit like the final stint of last week's race, but with far, far more laps to go. 72 laps left in this event. And as the iRacing sedan pace car crawls through the exit of turn 4, we will be going green once more. It was a 13-lap run. The number 13 continues to appear, but on lap 13, going on lap number 14, we're green once again, and Sink wastes no time getting going.
Yeah, but the back end stepped out there. There's another talking point that we could have at the latter parts of this race. If and if only these drivers stay out. If you have drivers with about 5 to go, stay on the racetrack and some come down and pit, you saw the wheel spin. Only our 11 green flag laps were ran on these tires, but the rears were already heated up enough that when they mashed the throttle, the back end just went and it didn't want to take off. You couldn't catch that gear, but you see a side-by-side battle right here for 5th. And this is going to be all night long, Joey. I hope you got your seatbelt ready.
I hope all the drivers have their seatbelts ready. Look a little bit further back, side by side for position 13. That's Sean Powell. That's the first car on new tires, taking care of Richard Regan Jr. in that bright blue car, 3 wide in the background. Oh dear. 3 wide on exit. Doesn't always work out, but it worked out for Powell and for Evans and for Loving and everybody else just trying to streak their way through traffic, moving chicanes almost for Sean Powell on that fresher rubber. But up front, the drivers on old tires, they've still got to fight for the lead. Holly to the inside of Sink. Can he steal it? Side by side through 1. Hollingsworth watching them carefully from behind. Holly to that left rear quarter panel of Sink. He's able to stay alongside him, but he pulls into the back of Thomas Sink, and they will stay single file, if for but a moment.
I love, and hopefully he's watching, I love watching Thomas Sink race. When we watched him last week, some of the moves he was able to make, and you look at him right here, he's battling the winningest driver in Bradley Holly. He's racing him hard. Lap 17, he got down on his door, was able to sit into turn 3, and he was able to just use the straight forces of the truck and side draft him without side drafting him. He didn't pinch the front nose on his rear quarter panel. All he did was go door to door with him and made him throttle out. He made him burp it a little bit there and wouldn't allow it as a wreck in the back.
Oh! The 41 of Evans is around, and again, with how close everybody is, drivers just piling in to the scene of the accident. I think that was Austin Hunter down in the grass, and the midfield of this field has been decimated once more.
And strategy, you could potentially keep here what you had, but you see the battle here. Look at what the 41
Regan
gets, just washes into him. Old tires in dirty air. Your truck handled different, P1. Your truck will handle different in clean air. I noticed that in the race that I was in. The moment you got in dirty air, your truck handled awful. Like, you did not want to be there. It just missed the bottom, got on the gas too early, and then it just sent them around, and you see there's nowhere to go in this field. Everybody's 2 wide, 3 wide, and that's just destined to happen. It's plate racing at Chicagoland in the tracks.
Riding on board with Jeff Evans here. I think he might have made it through the scene of the accident, but here we go. There goes Regan up the track, and Evans just barely sneaks his way through. That was unbelievably close for Jeff Evans. His fellow Evans, Doug Evans, wasn't so lucky, and Christian Swenson as well. The other Liqui-Moly truck involved, the 2 Phase 2 Chassis Works teammates. Sid and Regan probably not going to be too happy with each other. It's a damaged trucks bringing it down pit road, but lots of undamaged trucks also bringing it down pit road to take those tires. But critically, just about everybody up front still stays up front. Nobody's brought it down pit road after that 6-lap stint other than those damaged trucks and some of the guys at the back.
Yeah, I would say it's too early for strategy. But then again, it's not. It's never too early for strategy, right? I mean, we might not be in Las Vegas, but this is a good opportunity. It's race 2. Race 2 of the season, so you could roll the dice a little bit more, especially somebody like Powell, who already has a win. Throw caution to the wind. Who cares? He's sitting fixed right now. You can be aggressive. You can play fuel mileage. You can play with the tire advantage. It doesn't matter for him because he's already got the win. It's checkers or wreckers in my book for him. But those drivers back there in the back that decided to come down pit lane, Richard Reagan, James Durr, Happy Gilmore pitted as well down there in 22nd position. That's not bad strategy for those guys to maybe flip some track position here.
And it is now the minority of drivers that have stayed out for these 2 cautions. Sink, Holly, Witt, Harvey, Richter, your top 5, and then Doyle, Lawrence down in 11th. Those are the only drivers that have yet to bring it down pit road. So they could be sitting ducks here, or they could have pulled a strategy masterclass. We've only done something like 15 green laps in these tires, so how bad could Thomas Sink possibly be feeling compared to some of the other guys on 8-lap old tires?
Well, I mean, don't be surprised that the right front tire does chew here. Your left sides theoretically will not. I mean, you can run 20, 30 laps on them, and you might see 5 to 8% tire wear on them. But that right front will absolutely shred because you're going so fast in these corners, and you don't want to lift. That's the biggest thing. If you lift, you're getting ran over. It doesn't matter if you're in C open, you're in C fixed, or you're here in a league race. The moment you lift, you're getting hit because nobody else is going to lift around you. And especially if it's lap 83 on the board, coming to 2 to go, you ain't getting a lift. So you have to manage the tires. You have to roll it in. Be gentle, back that corner up a tad bit and save that right front tire and try to use the other tires. And Joey, I know that sounds stupid. Use the other tires. Make the rear tires drive the car for you or the truck for you, because if you lean on the right front, come about 10 or 15 laps in the run, you're washing up, you're catching the wall every time off of 2.
There are, in fact, 4 tires on these trucks. That is a true fact. And we don't always think about the other 3 tires, but that is very, very true that you might as well use all of them. They're underneath you. You got to steer the truck in a different way. Terry Radford with those tire physics lessons.
I work with them all day. I work with them all day.
That's why we bring you in here, Terry.
People don't understand that the way you drive it with the other tires is if you lift right here at that branded sign, you could go, I always lift at the 3. When I see the 3rd one coming into the corner, I'm lifting just a tad bit. You don't have to lift a whole lot. You burp it just a tad bit. You make the rear tires go into the corner for you. The moment you do that, the rear tires catch around, and then you get back on the gas, and it straightens the truck back out. If you drive it like that, your right front tire is safe to the end.
Well, last restart, Thomas Sink had a little bit of trouble with the rear tires, but here we go. Green for the 3rd time today. No such trouble this time. Thomas Sink leads him across the line to begin lap number 22. Just about a quarter of the way through the race, Holly on the high side chops off Mike Witt. And look at Sean Powell in that second blue truck in line. He's on fresh tires, and he's on the attack.
Oh, he's flying. He made a move that was acrobatic. I honestly thought I thought I was looking at Dale Earnhardt Sr. for a second watching him race back in the day, because he literally went from the outside lane to the bottom back to the outside lane, and he made a nice little Z there, but he works his way to third. First truck on fresh tires. That's a big key here, because if he can get in the front of this field, he's going to feel like he has just a ton more speed than everybody else, because he's leaving the field. But you see it, battle for the lead. Look at Holly. He's working the outside lane now.
Tried to get to the inside of Thomas Sink, but unfortunately, Lane did in fact he pushes down the curve straight. They're both trying to run away from Sean Powell. I think they might need each other's buddies here to get in full defense and prevent Sean Powell from taking the lead here. But Sean Powell outside of Holly, not quite able to stick it through turn one again. It is clear that Sean Powell is far faster through the bottom part of the track. You could just see free and speed advantage he has on those future tires. But he sticks behind Holly for the moment, not being too aggressive just yet. And here comes Powell, just in line.
Yeah, Powell's sitting in line, but he's honestly not running that fast of lap times compared to them as the caution comes out here again. Big issue coming off the exit of 4. You could see them going into 3. They wanted to back just around. You see Kevin McGarvey once more in the 77 machine. He's tagged along, and it's hard to see the numbers because the damage that are on these trucks. But you take a look at the replay here. They go down. Oh, truck got in the wall. That's the 24. And there's nowhere to go for the driver that was to his inside, and then it just continuously kept going. That's a tough one going into 3, Joey.
Jose Medina runs into the outside wall. Kevin McGarvey, unfortunately, the second in a row, both McGarveys, and that's going to be shocking and embarrassing with Medina. I don't think he expected that to happen, but it's absolute destruction for Medina. For McGarvey, lots of trouble. You're under caution for the third time.
Well, and I apologize for the Mr. Roboto voice there. A little technical difficulties on our end here. But you see pit stop starting to happen. You see Thomas Sink decided to come down. Bradley Holly, Chris Harvey, Michael Witt. They all came down pit lane. So this strategy play has came out. Sean Powell will take this lead with Danny Cervetus coming into P2 in the 25. So we reset here. You have Dylan Schmidt down there in 8th place. He has no pit stops. Abner Acosta in 10th has not pitted. Neither has Derek Dennis. He has not pitted as well. So 3 out of the top 13, Joey, have not pitted yet. And you have a couple down there like you have Jeff Hollingsworth, who came down on lap 18, took tires, and now the advantage is 7+ for them with not many green flag laps on their tires.
The advantage has quickly swung the other way around, and that's what can happen when we have multiple cautions like this in such a short period. Lots of drivers come down at different times. Some come down earlier, expecting there to be a long run. Some come down later because the long run never came, but we see the results now. And Sean Powell clearly having the same internet issues that I seem to be having, unfortunately, but he will be the leader on this restart.
Well, you know what? Sometimes, like Evan Pasoko says all the time, technology is going to technology, and it all happens. We have that time in here where things go wrong. My timing on scoring was wrong last week, and I apologize to the fans that was watching that I misspoke and incorrectly scored somebody here. But Sean Powell, I think if the fans at home, if you're watching this race and you're thinking, man, he's covered the field, that's what a lap or 2 laps make on tires. At the moment, he's was plus 11 for a lot of the drivers that he got around on the outside or the inside. But right now, you see that Hollingsworth, he has a 7-lap advantage, and granted at the moment, he hasn't put so many laps on his tires, that advantage is going to continuously keep going, and it's going to keep growing until we get to the end. Now you see a fan out there in the chat says top 14 for Gilmore. Yes, this is huge. He's plus 11. He's one of the biggest movers so far. Our biggest mover is Abner Acosta, plus 23. Derek Dennis in 13th, plus 23. So a lot of movers in this race that the fans at home, if you're watching, you're going to see a lot of shakers and a lot of comers and goers, because there's still 3 that's in the top 13 that have not come down pit road yet. But we go 2 by 2 here. We're taking the 1 to green. So we'll come back around, and Sean Powell will lead us as we come to complete lap 28. So as we go to reset down the back straightaway here, and fans at home, let's chat. Tell me who you're here cheering for. We got 39 sitting out there. We also have everybody else that are watching around the race spot in the VCO world. Let us know who you're cheering for. I've got a Happy Gilmore out there. We have Ramrod, a fan out there for him. You got Robin out there cheering on. So we're going to have a good time here as we go to take this green flag. We'll wait for the pace truck to turn his way down onto pit lane, and we'll see who's going to be the one to use the tires to their advantage here at the track that we don't get to see no more in the real life schedule. And green flags back in the air. Sean Powell's on it once more. Battle for second. It's also a 2 wide, and now it's a battle for the race lead. He looks low. He might get next to Sean Powell. The 57 goes to the bottom. He's not there. It's Powell to the lead, and now here comes the 25. Cervantes looking to the outside of Zimke. He tries to complete it down the back straightaway.
Pulling for the lead. We are both back in now as tries to get John Powell for second, Adam Zimke, Colton Lane, Steve Lovey, top 5 as they run. But how long will they be in that order?
Yeah, how long will they go? You see Powell taking the lead with Cervantes down there on the bottom. 57 slipped back a little bit, but you have 2 by 2 right now. That's Hollingsworth. He's working his way up there. That lap advantage. Lap 18 came down pit lane. That time by, he ran a 31.55, but that's in traffic as it settles out now. He moves to P5, moves Steve Lovey up to P6. And now we have a battle for the lead. The 25 is going to go peak low on Powell. He goes down here, might try to side draft going to the corner, but the outside lane, will it prevail? Can the 25 get to the quarter panel of the 45 here? He can. He's still there. 45 gets the outside advantage. He makes a strong run down the back, but the 25 still peeking to the inside. It's side by side into 3. And oh, that's tight as this battle's everywhere in the top 5. And the only one mixing it up there is the 57 of Zimke. Who's he gonna push? And this battle still continues. The battle for 4th has chilled out as Hollingsworth and Lane swap positions, move Lane back to the 5th place spot in the 60 and move Hollingsworth up there in the 99. He's going to work his way to 4th. They're continuously battling for this lead. The 25's not going to get the advantage on the bottom. He's going to allow Powell to work the outside lane, maybe burn up some tires here, but they have to watch out for the 99 of Hollingsworth. Can those tires prevent or prevail him to this race lead? Will the caution deter some of these strategies that come out here? As I see some smoke in the back distance, they saved it. What a save! At 180 miles an hour, he's in the wall. The 35 of Jim Westerfield. What a classy move. He stays up there as they round to the back straightaway. we'll take a look at the replay here. As you just see what happened, looks like might be some small contact that was made in a 3-wide situation. Just speculating at the moment. We'll see very soon. Contact was made from the outside. 35 saved it, just put it in the wall. Didn't want to take nobody else out. What a back with the loud pedal too, racing. That team, that's a very classy move. And you got Baron Hilton out there that says, go Zemke. Yeah, Zemke's having a great run. MP3 right now. You still have Cervantes. He's running second. He's a 10th off of the race lead, but it's single file, man, all the way back to the 9th place position. Everybody just staying in order. Nobody's trying to go out here and attempt to make room out of something that's not there. Don't push the issue on lap 36. But you just continuously see a lot of these drivers. If we could go on board real fast with the 25, I kind of want to walk through him lifting. If he actually is saving that right front tire here, this early-ish in this run, we've put 25 laps. You hear it just a little bit. He's on the throttle all the way through. He just continuously keeps rolling it. You'll see the RPMs when he gets into the corner. We'll see if they dip just a tad bit. He'll hold it, just a small little glitch, and then he gets to the bottom and allowed him to accelerate off the exit from the center off and keep that run. You see the momentum he got right there behind Powell. He'll work it all the way down, burp it a little bit more there, and then go all the way down to the end. Still see this move that's going on here. Lap traffic's going to potentially get in the way as Jim Westerfield came down pit lane there. That was just a heartbreak right there for the 35. As he did have a strong run. He was up almost 14 positions from where he started. And yes, Ward Bobbin, props to the racers that kept that under control. Jim Westerfield is a wheelman. Watched him last week. Didn't get the finish that necessarily he might have wanted, but he comes out here to Chicagoland, and what a save. Way to keep the truck under control and to keep himself in a position that didn't compromise somebody else's position. As you see the 57 there of Zemke, got a fan out there in Hilton wanting to see him progressively jump that Tropicana 57 up top, as he's got Hollingsworth all over the tailgate of that Chevrolet. As now we go to a 2x2 battle here. That's after Acosta in the 13th position. He just got passed here by Michael. Big run. Went smooth back up to the front. Got up to the P12 position as there's a slow truck to the outside. Go back up to the battle. This is for third, as Hollingsworth is still trying to check the outside. Now he's going to look low. A lot of moving that could happen here, but who's Lane going with? That Chevy, that 60 machine could dictate who makes what pass where as they continuously go. Single file is now it's 2x2 between Sink and Loving back here for the 6th place position. Sink makes that pass happen. The 48 who did come down pit lane on lap 25 is right back there, and I believe Joey's back. We'll see if Mr. Roboto or Joey is with us here.
Yeah, domo arigato. But Sean Powell is your leader. That's the wrong band. We're supposed to be making Chicago references here. But Sean Powell is your leader. Now on a mobile hotspot, and it should theoretically be better as Thomas Sink attempts to recover from this pit strategy. This interesting pit strategy maneuver that he is going through. And Danny Cervantes takes the lead from Sean Powell.
Yeah, he's been working him over, Joey, for the entire time. For the past 5 to 10 laps, he's been just progressively looking at the bottom. He's been thinking about it. You missed Jim Westerfield. That could have been a massive wreck, but he did an amazing job saving it in a one truck incident. But Cervantes doing a great job, but Powell's not giving up easy. He's not rolling over and just giving him the spot. He's racing him just like everybody else would.
He is side by side for the lead as we reach the halfway point in this 85-lap race, side by side into turn 1. Powell on the outside, the bright blue truck, the 45 versus the 25. They're neck and neck on the exit. They can't seem to separate each other from each other, as Zemke and Hollingsworth do exactly the same thing for 3rd and 4th behind. A little bit of a blink from Sean Powell once more, but he's got the advantage through 3 and 4. It just isn't enough to pull all the way ahead of Cervantes, though.
Well, the funniest part is they need to get going because Thomas Zink is coming, and he pitted on lap 25, and you have 2x2 from first, second, third, and fourth, and well, the 60's like, well, the fresh guy's coming. As we have a wash up here, Hollingsworth washes up. We go 3 wide off the exit of 2 down the back straightaway. The 60 wasn't going to wait in the wings anymore here. This racing hasn't stopped being impressive since lap 1.
They were 3 wide down the back straight, but they've managed to sort that out. Zemke takes that position ahead of Hollingsworth, and Colton Lane is now under attack from Thomas Sink. Lane's going to fall out of the top 5 because of that move, and Thomas Sink rejoins the fray up here in the top 5. It's a very similar tire strategy now for the entirety of the top 10. The youngest tires are actually on Thomas Sink and Bradley Holly's car. Hollingsworth has 7-lap younger tires than the 3 ahead of him, and everybody else here in this top 8 is on 26-lap old tires. There's Zemke trying to make the high line work once more on Cervantes. You can see the tire stints on your screen right now. Lots of different strategies, and clearly they're all meeting in the middle here. But right now, it seems to be a little bit calm. It's a little bit calmer than previously, I guess I can say. We did just go 3 wide, but for the most part, we are settled into single file here.
Yeah, I mean, my heart's pounding from just seeing these drivers put it out there on the line. I mean, race 2, and you already have this energy. You have everything that you want in a race. You have a multi-group track. You have a slick track. The track temp is high. I'm sure the drivers can feel that. I know that their tires are feeling it, especially for Powell, Cervantes, and Zemke. These drivers understand they have to manage their tires. Powell got right back around Cervantes after a couple laps and was able to work the bottom and then go back to the outside lane and was really making a whole lot of hay here. But they have to just stay on alert, because now Thomas Sink, they've allowed Bradley Holly to get back in this mix. He's only a half a second off the race lead, and he's 0.2 of a second off of the 5th place driver in Sink.
Can never count Holly out. The most successful driver, not only in Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series history, but in Precision Racing League history as a whole. So many wins in so many different categories, but nowhere does Holly excel more than in the trucks. But Thomas Sink, another driver, he's been in this truck series for so many seasons. He has so much experience, and he has so many wins to boot. Sends it down to the inside in turn 3 on Adam Zemke. Side by side, new tires versus older tires. Sean Powell having a little bit of an issue out front. That's going to be distracting from Cervantes, and it's going to be distracting from the draft, because you can't get a draft on a car that doesn't exist in front of you.
That's absolutely accurate. But you see, it slowed Powell down just a tad bit. It was 0.2 of a second. And then when he exited the corner and he had the technical difficulty there, it came back. It lowered itself down to 0.1 of a second. Now it's under a tenth. He's right there on the back bumper. But I do want to point out, for the 57, he was able to contend with Thomas Sink on the outside. I talked about it at the start of this race, that the outside to the middle groove to outside lane would work itself in on a long tire run. It's starting to play dividends. You saw the lead for Powell happen on the outside lane. Now you see the 25 and the 57 work it out up there, as the 48 on newer tires work in the bottom, trying to utilize the side draft all throughout this field.
So Terry, forgive me if you answered this question when I was sorting out my issues, but with how long the stint has been, about 26 or plus 30 laps at this point, how long do you think they can go on tires, on fuel, before they will have to make a green flag stop, if they do at all?
I would they're not going to make it all the way through unless they put 100% fuel in, which I do not believe that they did. I'll go look at my notes. I believe this is 60% fuel. With some of them coming down on lap 25 and lap 11, I'm almost positive they took a full fuel load. There's no way that they came down pit lane for 9 seconds and didn't necessarily get all the fuel in it. So what I would believe is about lap 55 to lap 60, you'll start seeing some short hitters for that last 25 lap stint. You want to put all the laps on the front part of the race and hope that your strategy pays out. As now, listening to me here, here comes Steve Loving from the 17th position. He's coming down pit lane here. So we started. He was in position that this could potentially flip track position for him. People are going to take notice, and they're going to know, hey, we got to pit now. So we'll see who the next domino is. We're 3 wide with the lap car, and well, there's a battle for the lead with Cervantes coming into the picture as well, and he's coming down pit lane. It started.
It is starting indeed. The 25 brings it down pit road. just about everybody else on the lead lap stays out, but we do have to start thinking undercut. If you look at the lap times from the past couple of laps, these drivers were running 31.5s at their best, 31.3s at their best. Now everybody's in the high 32s, the low 33s. So the undercut is very possible if anybody can pull it off. And I think Sean Powell and Sink, the gang up here, know that. So like you said, I would probably expect them, we will probably expect them to come in the coming laps, 55 to 60, something like that. But it's not happening yet. Colton Lane brings it down pit road, but the entirety of the top 15 is still out there. The entirety of the cars on the lead lap, except for these guys who are coming in and trapping themselves one lap down, which can be dangerous.
I find it interesting that you talked about the undercut, because we talked about that at RSR at Road America Monday night. The thing with the undercut, it's massively used in F1. Granted, it's used in NASCAR too, and obviously we're racing the trucks. But here's the thing with that is you see Jeff Evans. He's going to come down pit lane. He was running in the 7th place position when he decided to pit. See, this is why that the undercut's a big thing. You have drivers spinning. Granted, they're not going to throw the yellow because this is iRacing cautions. The moment something happens like this, your undercut goes out the window. It's one driver looked like they might have been pitting. The next driver couldn't check up quick enough, and the 312 goes around. A driver trying to come down pit lane is carrying too much speed. But now Jeff Evans, Dylan Smith, they're in. And back to the point, if the caution comes out and you're able to work this advantage and trap those drivers a lap down, you're not giving anybody the opportunity to come out there with that undercut and actually make a difference, because then you flip the track position back to you. The tire advantage goes back in your court, and then you make everybody else play your game like Triple H at WrestleMania.
Richard Regan Jr., the next driver down pit road, your pole sitter, trying to fight back to the front, but still up front. It is Thomas Sink who's taken the lead from Sean Powell. He's going to lead here on lap number 56. They're all still staying out. The highest car that has brought it down pit road is now Richard Regan Jr., who's exited pit road, or not quite exited pit road yet, but he will in a matter of moments. Steve Loving's brought it down pit road. Colton Lane, Jeff Evans, Danny Cervantes, all sorts are hoping that we don't get a caution, and they're hoping that they don't get trapped a lap down, and they're hoping that these guys stay out for as long as possible so they can jump them all once they do come in.
But I'm going to bring an interesting point here. Steve Loving, first guy to come down pit lane. Well, let's just say he jumped Cervantes. What would you say if I told you that he, not only by using the undercut and doing what he did, he's going out and laying fast lap times. Not as fast as what Cervantes laid down. He laid down a 31.1, which was the fastest lap time of this race so far. But that small little undercut of a lap and a half made a difference, that he jumped Cervantes by almost 5 spots. That's huge. That's huge. You see Cervantes down there in 22nd on your board? Well, you got to go all the way up here to P12 to find. Well, not 12. My timing is off again. We'll see where it scores him. It scores him in the 13th position. Not too bad for a guy that was just kind of riding around and not following the leaders.
And the waiting game continues. James Dewar brings it down pit road, but Sink stays out. Can he do 56 laps on one tank of fuel on these tires? He's hoping he can, but all of these guys just seeming to wait as long as humanly possible until they have to bring it down pit road. Mike Witt in the number 26 is the next to take a bite at the apple. He's going to take fuel and likely 4 tires, 25 laps to go. The laps are ticking down, but the strategy game is only ticking up.
Well, Thomas Sink came down, who just took the race lead, and he's pulling it away. He pitted on lap 25, so he has a little bit more that he can go here. Those drivers that pitted on lap 11, as you see the...
Oh, Powell loses it!
Oh, no! That's his race. That's it. Unless he gets a caution, that's over for him.
Sean Powell loses it from second place in the race, fighting for the win, and just a little bit too much speed coming down into pit road. Let's take a look at what happened. The leader, Thomas Sink, is right ahead of him. Powell elects to bring it down pit road, slows the car down to the bottom of the track, and he loses it before he even comes in. And he's just still losing it and losing it and losing it and losing it. And I think he might have gotten a speeding penalty to boot.
I'm not going to lie, that was the most impressive onboard I've seen in a long time, because he handled it. right? You're loose on the entry. Once you touch that apron, the back end's going to kick. You're not going to be able to control it, but he controlled it. Here comes Zemke. He's coming down pit lane, but I think the biggest thing is you see Thomas Sink 2.1 seconds ahead of Bradley Holly. That's a massive gap to have coming onto pit lane. As you see the 27 coming to unlap himself. That is a big one. And by the way, Cervantes did get around Loving. No, he didn't. He's up to 11th. So strategy for Loving, Lane, Evans, Reagan, and then Cervantes all the way down to the 16th position. That's a lap to 2 laps, Joey, that changed the face of what we're going to see here, because now Loving back on the lead lap. Say we get that magical caution that comes out, and we can blame me if it does come out. That puts him in the spot that he can stay out here. Stay out, and then hope for another caution with the drivers coming down pit lane, and then the wave around cars that are with it, and then the free pass at the back. This could be an interesting, this could be even a more intriguing race towards the end as Holly comes down from P2.
There's less and less drivers still on the racetrack with every lap. Doyle Lawrence, Bradley Holly bring it down pit road. Only a small few drivers, about 7 drivers, have yet to bring it down pit road. Holly does. The Bass Pro Shops trucks still navigating their way through. Thomas Sink still leads. Mike Richter second. Harvey is third. But here comes Robert Gilmore, another driver from that top 7, has now made it a top 6. Only 6 drivers left who have yet to pit. Here's one of the Evanses, and here's Sean Powell in that 45 truck. If he did get a speeding penalty, hasn't hurt him too much because he's still got those fresh tires under him. He's going to drive past our race leader and get one of his laps back. You can see how slow Sink is. He's running in the high 32s, which isn't the worst lap times on the track, but he is clearly slower, and he is very much in losing the lead window if he does have to pit here, as Derek Dennis is the next truck down pit road.
I still think he's playing for the caution. The same thing with Richard and Harvey and Geyer and Traver. They're playing for the caution. They're, you know, that old saying that if you throw stuff at a wall, you hope that something sticks. They're throwing it at the wall in race 2. It might stick. As there's a car
in the grass.
In the grass, you might stick. This is the point of the race. This is the point of the tire strategy where we have been green for 40+ laps. There's an opportunity here that these tires are going to give up. You see all these new tires trying to bob and weave like they're going to get an apple, juking and jiving through traffic. Something's going to happen.
Something's going to happen, but what is it? It was a truck through the grass. I believe that might have been Doug Evans, one of the highlighter green trucks. But we're 3 wide here between another Evans. Lots of drivers on lots of different laps. And if you look at the bottom of your screen, just scroll through there. Sean Powell is 2 laps down because he did receive a speeding penalty in the pits. So that's bad luck for Sean Powell. He's likely not going to defend his win from last week. But that opens the field for everybody else. Will the Steve Loving strategy pay off? Will Thomas Sink be able to stick it all the way to the end? And will we get that ever-important caution? All sorts of questions remain to be answered in the next 17 laps. Lots of trucks all over the road, lots of trucks on different strategies, but doesn't seem to be fretting Thomas Sink too much.
Well, let's play hypothetical, Joe. Ready?
I think so.
Hypothetically, the caution doesn't come out, right? And top 4 have to pit. Your battle for the race lead is down to 1/10 of a second between Lane and Loving, who's sitting 5th and 6th respectively on the track. Say the caution does come out. Well, battle for the win goes between any of these drivers on the lead lap all the way back to Acosta, who is theoretically, or now Traver, who's theoretically going to get the wave around here. That's the battle for the win. So there's a lot that could change in this, and now you see the battle. If everything goes the way as planned, and we go the last 15 laps on this track is here, he's going to try to pitch that lap car up there to the outside wall and try to get up there. That's tight. That's tight around this track. But
that was extremely tight.
That
but
could
Lane,
be the battle for the win with Lane.
That could be the pass for the win.
He knows what he's going for here. He knows that that's the win. If those 4 drivers come down pit lane, they're going to catch Geyer. He's 3 seconds ahead of him. But that's the battle for the win if everything goes according to their strategy.
Colton Lane, it might only be 5th on track right now, but it very well could be the lead, and now he sets his sights 1 truck forward. Dalton Geyer, that is a fight for position, and it's only 3 seconds ahead of him. But Lane, a little bit of clean track now that he has taken care of Steve Loving. The lap times are starting to fall off just a little bit. Colton Lane's last lap, 32.4. Thomas Sink's last lap, 32.9. So if we do go green all the way, and Sink somehow doesn't have to bring it down pit road, Sink will not be caught. He has too big of a gap, but all of these drivers, they are hoping for a caution, or they're hoping that Sink, Richter, and Garvey, the 3 who have yet to pit, have to pit.
I think everybody's hoping that they have to pit. I'm sure there's 4 drivers right at the moment that is screaming and yelling, "Come on, caution! You need to come out. If you don't come out, I'm going to be mad." But then you got 2 drivers that are going, "Hey, well, you know, we could potentially race with this win." And you know, Lane, he doesn't want to caution. He don't want to caution at all. He's sitting in the catbird seat, P5 at the moment. You see the battle for 7th. Who's going to get a wild hair in their bum, right? Who's going to get the wild hair in their bum and say, okay, I can make this stick. I can make this on old tires stick at the bottom. There's about to be a battle for 2nd between Richter and Harvey. They're starting to catch one another fast. So who's got it? Who's got the magic horseshoe somewhere in their bum that's going to propel them to a win at Chicagoland?
Lots of drivers are going to be hoping that they're going to win. They're going to be thinking about the fans. The fans can will drivers on to victory. Some of the fan favorites have unfortunately lost out. Robert Gilmore was having a strong run. He got taken out, but Colton Lane moving it forward. He's saying, "Vote for me." And right ahead of it, oh, Sink is in. Sink is in the pits, distracting me from Colton Lane. And here we go. Thomas Sink is in. Your race leader brings it down pit road. Mike Richter will take over the race lead,
nope,
but
pitting.
Can Richter stay out? Can Harvey stay out?
They're pitting. Everybody pitted. They're all down pit lane. So it falls in the lap of Lane. The one person that is not screaming for a caution, he didn't get it. It fell in his lap. And now, here comes Adam Temke. He's in the picture. And now, we didn't have him in our bingo card a little earlier. He pitted there with them. What does he have to say in this race? Because he's slowly but surely walking up to the back bumper of that 60. It's under 0.4 of a second now.
Under 0.4 of a second. The 60, the 57, the 27, the 51. And even Bradley Holly, don't count him out in the top 5 either. It's a 5-way fight. Less than 10 laps to go. Colton Lane is your leader. He's the blue number 60 in the bottom of your screen, but Adam Zemke's not letting him go. That lap truck is not helping Lane whatsoever. He's got a little bit fresher rubber. Actually, he doesn't. He has far older rubber, but he seems to have taken care of it a little bit better than Zemke. Zemke's actually on 8-lap younger tires, and he is catching to the back of Colton Lane. The lap traffic has not helped Lane whatsoever, and Zemke's on the attack. He's to the inside, down on the apron, side by side into turn 1, and as easy as that, the number 57 of Adam Zemke is not quite going to be clear of Colton Lane, but he seems like he's found the speed in that truck, and he will be making the move for the lead. If Lane can't stop him, Lane actually does get a solid run down the back straight, but the 57 stuck to the inside, and Bradley Holly, you just saw him move up from 5th to 3rd. He's also on the attack, and you can see that blue and black truck in the mirrors. It was about a 1.4 second gap like a lap ago, and he's cut that completely in half.
All right, I'm going to put myself in the driver's seat for just a second here, because you look at what the 60's doing. He's going back to what I talked about in the opening part of this race. The outside lane on older tires will always prevail you and make you faster than what you are. And I'm not saying that the 60 of Lane's not fast, but it gives him the momentum, and it doesn't allow the 57 of Zemke to work that groove, to push it to the wall, to really mat that throttle. And right now, your biggest fan of that's the 184, Bradley Holly. He's going, come on, come on. And he's saying a couple choice words I can't say here on Race Spot, but he's saying, keep him out there. Keep him pinched to the bottom. Keep a nose to his door. Don't let him go. And that time he did, but who cares? It's too little too late. You see the focus. That's the eye of the tiger right there. Bradley Holly chasing him down. It's under 0.4 of a second separates that. He's on the freshest tires by 2 laps. 2 laps made this much of a difference.
Adam Zemke has won in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series twice. Colton Lane has won once. Bradley Holly has won 63 times. And it looks like it could very well be number 64 as Holly drives straight through Colton Lane. No fight whatsoever. He couldn't fight him. That truck is just too fresh for Bradley Holly. Lane peeks to the inside, but he knows there is nothing that can come of that move. And now it's almost a waiting game. Zemke looks in his mirrors. He sees a very, very hungry number 184 truck. And is there anything he can really do here as we cross the line for 5 to go?
Well, you're not going to like my answer, but I can tell you right now there's one answer and one answer only, and that's block like heck. If you block like crazy, you make it happen, right? And blocking's against the driver's code, but you have to have a respect between the drivers. And you can't say that you race in the PRL series and not have respect for the all-time winningest driver. That time Zemke missed the mark just by an inch into the corner. It allowed Holly to get him by 100th of a second, but the exit was perfect for Zemke. He was able to go. Entry's not his thing right now. He's kind of driving it in a little harder because he knows he has to go. But it's Bradley Holly. He's a clean racer. Is he going to move him if he throws a block on him?
This is no Saturday in the park for Adam Zemke. He drives through another lap truck. The lap traffic has helped him and hurt him. And here comes Holly down to the inside. Not quite able to get side by side with him. And let's watch for the block. There's the block from Zemke. He drives it all the way down. Yellow line. Holly needs to get to the inside of him, but Zemke knows that the win is on the line, and he is giving it everything he's got. On the exit of 2, it's a solid run from Holly, but he just isn't able to get close enough down the curved back straight. We're going to take 2 to go here, and Holly's there, but can he make the move?
I honestly would make this move to the outside, but he's committed to that bottom. He gets to the door. They're drag racing. Never mind. He pulled out of that one. In the 57, just what incredible move there. I take the outside. He does it. Go into 1, sail that sucker out there, and just keep her wound up. He's going to get the run down the back straightaway to set him up for 3. He can make it. Just you got to hope the 57 doesn't block him again.
Through turn 3 and 4 for the penultimate time. We're going to take the white flag here. We will complete the full race distance. 85 laps at Chicagoland, and it's coming down to this, less than 1/10 of a second. White flag for Adam Zemke. Can he hang on? He's got the hungriest driver in the world behind him. Bradley Holly wants to win this race. He's using the outside here. Can he switch back to the inside? Zemke drives up in front of Holly. Holly's got the run. Peeks to the outside, can't find it. Peeks to the inside of Adam Zemke. Down to the bottom of the track goes the number 184. Who's going to have the run to the line? Will it be Holly on the inside, Zemke on the outside? Zemke fights back, and to the line, Adam Zemke, the battle of the century, hangs on for his 3rd PRL Truck Series win and his 1st of the season.
What a race to the line, man. I thought that Holly was going to go up and maybe door tap him a little bit, but you see the onboard. What a shot from the producer. Gave it to us, and you just see the dejected. He's like, oh, I was so close, but you see the smile on his face. You can see it in his eyes how happy he was. That was potentially the coolest race that I've seen from watching PRL. What incredible talent was shown right there in those closing moments of this race.
A great finish and a clean finish which always helps, but Adam Zemke is your victor. His first win in 2022, I believe, and he will be your victor. But Bradley Holly, like you said, 2nd place, not too unhappy, because that's 2 2nd places in a row for Holly. You always want to win the race, but 2 2nd places will easily put him in the championship lead as the 2 Tropicana trucks doing something that's not safe for work here on the start-finish line. Him and his teammate Charles Sumner having a little bit of fun here, but in a few moments we will hopefully get to talk to our top 3 or just our top 2 drivers. But let's take a look at the finishing results. Of course, the big story, Zemke and Holly, 0.055 at the line. Colton Lane brought it home in 3rd place after leading a couple laps at the end. Abner Acosta, what a drive under the radar from the back of the field to 4th. And Thomas Sink didn't quite work out for him either in 5th. Jeff Evans, Steve Loving, Jeff Hollingsworth, Nick Witt, and pole sitter Richard Regan Jr. rounded out your top 10. Then down in 11th, Danny Cervantes, Doyle Lawrence, Derek Dennis, Austin Hunter, and Mike Richter were the final 15 on the lead lap. Then Chris Harvey, Ryan Traver, Robert Gilmore, Dalton Geyer, and last week's winner, Sean Powell, after that speeding penalty, which is 1 lap down. James Dewar, also 1 lap down, and then Dylan Schmidt, Nicholas Hunter, Stacy Hunter, and the used car lot after this. Drivers got into incidents: Jose Medina, CM Pennington, Doug Evans, Charles Sumner, Jim Westerfield, Garrett Austin, and the list goes on. Kalen, McGarvey, Swenson, and Masi, Knight, the other McGarvey, Caraballo, and Zach Panzarella round out the 38 truck field for tonight's race. But I see 3 drivers in our broadcast lobby, and I believe the first one we're going to get to speak to is our victor, Adam Zemke. We'll get him moved down as quickly as we can. Terry, I cannot wait to talk to these 2 guys.
I just wonder what they're going to say about that finish. I honestly wonder if the thought ran through their head, use the door, just use the door. That's all you can do here. Just try to get the run off the exit.
Well, it looks like there's no sign of Adam Zemke just yet, but we do have Bradley Holly. If we can figure out how to move him in here. Colton Lane also waiting for an interview, and Thomas Sink as well. Let's move down into the waiting room. Hopefully Adam Zemke shows up, because that was the most thrilling race I've seen in many PRL seasons. But let's talk to Bradley Holly if we can. Here he is. Here's Bradley Holly. Sorry, a couple technical difficulties throughout the entirety of the night, but Bradley Holly, you finally made it into the booth. Wasn't quite the win you were hoping for, but that was a heck of a finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. There was a couple things hindering me. I felt like at the end, that little door damage, I felt like I lost a mile or 2 on the long run, and then probably should have pitted a lap or 2 earlier to bring down that gap, not make that gap as big as it was to Adam. So, but other than that, it was pretty solid end of the race.
It was certainly a solid end of the race, and 2nd place is probably not what you were hoping for, but that's 2 2nd places in a row now, and that should be the championship lead for you. And of course, you've won so many championships in this series. You got to be feeling pretty good about yet another one.
Oh yeah, it's all about consistency in the PRL. We got guys like Richard and Powell and Adam, Tom, everybody in the PRL that are super quick, and anybody can win depending on how strategy goes. So it's whoever can be the most consistent throughout the season that normally wins the championship.
I will ask you, do you know what your championship total is? You know how many championships you've won in the PRL Truck Series?
Honestly, no, I do not.
14. And after that, it's 1-1-1 with Smith, Conquer, and Acosta. So you're going for 15 right now, and I'm sure you're very happy with that number.
Yeah, I am for sure. But I've been in this league for 2 or 3 years now, so it's becoming increasingly harder with everybody in this league to win championships and just to win races. So it's a lot more fun, and because having competition is more entertaining than having a 6-second lead every race.
I think we can all agree with that, but congrats on your 2nd place again, and we'll see if next week is the one that you can finally win. Next up, we've got Adam Zemke. He has showed up, and Terry, I think you're ready to talk to our race winner, aren't you?
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Adam, what a race.
Ooh, how you guys doing?
I almost cussed. You almost got me, Adam. You almost got me. I don't know, man. You're doing a whole lot better than I am. We just got to call a thrilling race to the finish. How did you hold him off knowing you had the all-time race winner on your back bumper? You had a fast guy on your back bumper, and he had fresher tires than you, and you still held him off and won it.
I think I think what helped me a little bit is racing Colton there at the end. He kind of let me know how, because I think he was on a little bit older tires than I was, and just how defensive that outside line could be. And I knew Brad was coming, so as soon as he kind of got to my bumper, it's just like try to block as much air in the corner as I could from getting to his front end, and then as soon as he was getting beside me, just try to stay on that high line as best I could to try to pinch him down as much as I could. Uh, you know, I didn't expect coming out here and winning today. I had to download TeamSpeak just to talk to you, gentlemen. So if that lets you know how I expected this race to go, I guess that's a pretty good indication.
Well, your first interview over here just happens to be with me. So I'll take that as an honor that you
All
download
right,
Team Speak just to talk to me for a second. So
nice to
I
meet
don't
you.
know. Nice to meet you. It was good. It was amazing. It was amazing to call you there. You see the 184 here. You can't see our prod feed, but he was sideways coming to the line trying to
Uh-oh.
pass you. How hard? Well, actually, I'll take that back because better question because you mentioned it about the 60 being on your outside. You said you took away what you learned from him there of seeing how defensive and how much speed you could have on that outside.
hmm Well, a lot of that I think is just because I think Colton was on 10 lap older tires than I was, and I had a heck of a time passing him. So it kind of just put in my mindset that how competitive that outside line is. And I think Brad was only on 2 lap fresher tires than me, so
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I can do this, maybe I can't, but we're gonna see what happens. And then I don't know what happened. There was a couple like the 45 coming in pit before I did. I don't know whatever happened to him and Danny coming in pit way before we did. So I thought he was gonna be who I was chasing. So when I got into the lead, I was kind of shocked. And just tried to keep it, I guess.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to a road course. We're going to a road course next week. You got anything for him?
Uh, I can try to stay on the track. I mean, that's about the best I can do on a road course. I'm just not good there. I mean, I think a lot of times when we have to do a lot of heavy braking is kind of a downside of my driving style. Just and so I'm gonna try to do my best, obviously, but I'm not gonna go out there and have any result like this.
Well, don't say never because strategy
True.
comes into play. But Adam, congratulations on a very thrilling win. Are you going to go drink some Tropicana now?
Oh, I will. I'm
Okay.
very thirsty.
That's all that matters. Make sure if you have Twitter to tweet at RaceSpot are you drinking some Tropicana. I'd love to see it. All right.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, brother. That was our P1 winner down there, Joey. And I think we got Colton Lane standing up, a guy that had an opportunity to win this race, but came up just a little too short on tire strategy.
Yeah, we'll move Colton up here. And Terry, last week I compared you to an investigator with Bradley Holly, but far more genial. Maybe a good cop, bad cop sort of switch over this week. But Colton Lane is here, third place finisher tonight. You were fighting for what was the overall lead at one point. Didn't quite work out in the end, but you've still got to be pretty happy with the third place.
Absolutely. I mean, there's people in front of me that had some problems. I was probably going to be maybe a fifth place car at best, and two or three people had problems. And then, of course, people behind me had better pit strategy. Like, Zimke was actually in front of me when I pitted, but they just ate me up eventually.
They did, but third place still pretty good. Like I said, next week we talked to Adam Zemke about Mid-Ohio. Said his goal was just to keep it on the track. What's your goal? Is your goal the same, or is it a little bit higher than that one?
Yeah, it's basically the same. I'm not exactly the best road racer. I just try to keep the wheels on the track, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But that's part of it. Especially we probably have 10, 15 really fast guys on road courses here. Maybe more now with some of the new guys that joined. And so basically, it's just about the mid pack on back is about trying to make the least amount of mistakes as you can.
We do have a lot of strong drivers on road courses, but of course we still have a lot of strong drivers on the oval side as well. And just how difficult is it? How can you get across to our viewers? How difficult is it to just finish in the top 3 in the Precision Racing League?
It's really hard. It's rewarding when you do it, though. I mean, I've been racing with PRL since like 2016. I think I have maybe 3 or 4 race wins across the. I used to race on Sundays and then trucks, and race with people like Brad and Richard and Abner and just all the guys like that. It makes you better. And then when you actually are able to go out there, race with them, beat them, and run with them, it makes it a whole lot better than just going out there and running official races against just some random old Joes that might even wreck you. You know what I mean?
I went and checked the old spreadsheet for you. You've got 4 wins all time in the Precision Racing League, so pretty solid total, and I'm sure you're always looking for one more, aren't you?
We're looking for it. I've almost had a couple the past couple of seasons. I had a rough start to the 2022 campaign, but past couple of seasons I've been able to have some results, and sometimes I've actually been practicing when normally I just show up an hour before the race and practice. So maybe I should do more practice. I don't know. We'll see.
Practice is boring. Racing's more fun, isn't it? Well, congrats on your 3rd place tonight, and hopefully we'll see you back in here next week.
You might not see me next week, but I thank you guys.
All right, see you whenever then. And I believe we've got one more. Thomas Sink is in waiting. He led quite a few laps today. Didn't quite work out for the win, but once we move him up here, Terry, one more driver for you to take care of.
Yeah, this time we're going to play good cop, bad cop. It was good cop on the first one. We'll play the interrogation role on this one. We'll see what was going through his mind there. There we go.
There he is.
Thomas Sink, P5 tonight. What's up? It's Terry.
Hey, how's it going?
Well, we have to switch up, interviewing roles here. So obviously, P1, good cop was on. This time it's bad cop. So let's walk through your strategy here. So you came down on lap 74. You didn't want to pit from the lead, right? This wasn't what you wanted to do. You were praying for the caution. What was going through your mind coming down pit road at 55 miles an hour? Were you praying for the caution?
Yeah, yeah, I had a really good Wetterback truck tonight, and I was just hoping for caution. And when it didn't come out, I just knew I had to come down. So I came down, got 2 tires. It seemed to work out better than I thought, because I think at one point I was like 5 or 6 seconds behind. It was only a couple laps left, and I just screamed past them on the bottom.
Well, can I ask you what your left side tires are at?
Yeah, actually you can. It's not pulling up now. Hold on. 79, 70.
Okay, what was your rights at?
94, 96.
See? Ha ha ha, Joey. I told you I'd call it. So the 2-tire strategy obviously played dividends because your lap times, were very competitive. You were running 32.3 was what you put down coming to the tail end of the field, and obviously you had to put 12 laps on them. But your initial lap, you went out there on the track and put 31. I believe you put a 31.6 up. So you were very competitive up there. So at that moment, you went back to there.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was trying to do just kind of damage control there. Everyone had pitted, and I knew I was in a bad spot. I thought I needed something to happen, whether it was a late race caution where I was going to be just quicker. I'd be able to maybe get like a outside starting spot. I can pull out in the outside and just go around everyone. But truck was really loose on 2 tires. I was just wheeling it. Didn't think I was ever going to catch anyone. And it seemed to work out. I got lucky.
Are you gonna win Mid Ohio next week?
Oh, absolutely not. There's one thing is my Achilles heel is road races. I'm not good at them. I don't want to be good at them. I try and try. I've already run like 50 laps at it, and I'm still 3 seconds slower than some of the top guys like Brad and Abner and stuff. So I think next week will be again, just get out there, try not to wreck. Probably will. Just hopefully get a finish, and if I get lucky, I get a top 10. I'll be very happy.
Can I have one favor before we let you go for next week?
Absolutely.
Can you change one of the Whattabacks to Whataburger, and just make us find it?
Well, that's the thing is, so Whataback has actually started because of Whataburger. All of my teammates are from Texas.
Yeah, that's my favorite place to eat.
Apparently, it's really good. I've never been there.
It's super good. If you change one of the logos on there to Whataburger and make us play Where's Whataburger on your truck.
Fair enough.
I like it. That's Thomas Sink, P5 tonight. Come home 3 spots from where he started in P2. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you, guys.
Terry, you referenced there. You don't cover the NASCAR Cup Series with us, but there's a driver in the PRL NASCAR Cup Series named Waldo Walden. So we can play Where's Waldo and Where's Whataback and Where's Whataburger and all sorts of other WWW, all sorts of W's. But anyway, it's been a dramatic broadcast. It was a very dramatic finish, but we've survived till the end, and one more week to go before Mid-Ohio. It's the one we've been looking towards since the start of the season. I'll actually be at Mid-Ohio over the weekend for the IndyCar race, so I'll see if I can get any insider tips. It's a different car, but it's the same racetrack, lots of corners in kind of the middle of nowhere, Ohio, but it's a very nice facility. I'm a big fan of Mid-Ohio, and I am definitely looking forward to going there next week.
I'm very excited for Mid-Ohio. You get to see what these drivers can do on the road. You heard a lot of them in the interview said they wasn't going to be good. But most of the time when people tell me they're not good at something, they're normally pretty good at something. So, yeah, they'll figure it out.
Well, we will wait and see what goes on at Mid-Ohio, July 6th, 2022. That is this year, and 9 p.m. ET as always. We look forward to seeing you there again, but that's about it from us tonight. The PRL NASCAR Truck Series always puts on a show. We got a photo finish tonight. I struggle to think of words, Terry. I struggle to think of any way to cap off this broadcast that could be any better than that finish.
I'm never at a loss for words, but I couldn't tell you either. I think the happiest I'd ever been watching that finish right there was WrestleMania 25. When John Cena, the 20th year anniversary this Monday, when he won against JBL for the championship. Or when you had Rock, Hogan, and Austin all come in the ring at the same time at WrestleMania 30. But that finish gave me chills just like watching that. So that's pretty cool.
Well, like John Cena, I think it's about time for you and me to disappear off the screen. And we will see you next week. So thanks for joining us here.
I'll go get the championship belt now and we fight for it.
Thanks for joining us here at RaceSpotTV. It's another great night for the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. We look forward to seeing you next week for another race in this series, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night for another PRL series, the old F3 series. We'll be taking on Suzuka, so don't go anywhere. Subscribe to RaceSpotTV on YouTube. See everything that goes on in the Precision Racing League and every other series here on RaceSpotTV. We'll see you then, and till next time, so long.